Ever pondered about the cultural dimensions to oral sex? Well, you're not alone. Our curiosity has led us on a fascinating journey to explore the diverse world of sexual preferences. Today, we're going to take a closer look at one particular practice, oral sex, or more specifically, the blowjob. We've gathered a wealth of information, data, and surveys from various corners of the globe, aiming to shed light on how different cultures and regions perceive and practice this intimate act. From the passionate European lovers to the sensual Asians, from the traditional perspectives of Pakistan and the Gulf countries to the erotic teachings of Kama Sutra and Western literature, our journey is going to be both enlightening and exciting. We're delving into a topic that's often shrouded in mystery, breaking down barriers as we go. Are you ready for this global tour? Let's dive into the fascinating world of diverse sexual desires. Starting our journey in Europe, where love is often in the air. Europe is a diverse continent, rich in culture, history, and yes, sexual preferences. It's a melting pot of different attitudes and practices, and when it comes to oral pleasure, it's no different. Let's delve into some fascinating findings from various European surveys. In France, famed for its romance and passion, the art of oral pleasure is highly valued. It's seen as an essential part of the romantic repertoire, with an overwhelming majority of respondents expressing their fondness for it. Moving on to Spain, a country known for its fiery spirit. The Spanish also show a strong preference for oral satisfaction, with many seeing it as a way to enhance intimacy and connection in the bedroom. It's not just about the physical pleasure, but the emotional connection it fosters. Now, let's head north to the United Kingdom. Brits are a bit more reserved, but don't let that fool you. They also appreciate the art of oral pleasure, albeit with a uniquely British twist. Many Brits view it as a way to show affection and care for their partners, rather than just a means to an end. Over in Germany, the practical and efficient Germans view oral pleasure as an important part of a balanced sexual diet. It's all about mutual satisfaction and equality in the bedroom, reflecting the egalitarian nature of German society. And finally, let's not forget about Italy, the land of love and passion. Italians are all about the give and take. For them, oral pleasure is just as much about giving as it is about receiving, reflecting their deeply ingrained values of love and generosity. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, despite cultural differences and varying attitudes, Europeans share a common appreciation for oral pleasure. It's seen not just as a physical act, but a way to connect, communicate, and express love and affection. Europe, diverse in its practices, unified in its quest for pleasure. Next, we head to Asia, a continent known for its rich sexual history. A tapestry of diverse cultures, languages, and traditions, Asia's perspectives on oral sex, specifically blowjobs, are as varied as its geography. Let's delve into the data. In countries like Japan, South Korea, and China, where societies are often reserved and private about sexual matters, the practice of oral sex is not as openly discussed as it might be in the West. However, the data collected suggests a different story. Despite cultural reticence, a significant number of individuals from these countries report enjoying giving and receiving oral sex. Now, onto Southeast Asia. In countries such as Thailand and the Philippines, sexual openness varies greatly, influenced by factors like religion and societal norms. For instance, a substantial percentage of Thais and Filipinos indicate they appreciate the intimacy that oral sex provides, viewing it as an important part of their sexual repertoire. Moving westward to India and Pakistan, we find a dichotomy. On one hand, these countries are home to some of the world's oldest texts on sexuality, like the Kama Sutra. On the other, they are societies where sexual conservatism often prevails. Yet the data reveals an intriguing trend. A growing number of individuals from these regions are embracing oral sex as a part of their sexual experience, often in private, away from the public eye. It's important to note that cultural norms and traditions heavily influence these perspectives. In many Asian societies, sex is often seen as a private matter, something to be experienced behind closed doors. This can impact the way oral sex is perceived and practiced, making it a less discussed but still integral part of many people's sexual lives. What this data underscores is the evolving nature of sexual preferences in Asia. As societies continue to change and adapt, so too does the dialogue around sex, opening up new spaces for exploration and understanding. Asia, where ancient traditions meet modern desires. Now, let's explore the Middle East and Pakistan, regions often shrouded in mystery when it comes to sexual practices. The Middle East and Pakistan, geographically diverse and culturally rich, hold unique perspectives on intimacy, influenced heavily by religious and societal norms. The prevailing conservative attitudes often make it difficult to have open conversations about sexual health and pleasure. But let's delve into what surveys and studies tell us. Findings from discrete surveys conducted in these regions indicate that oral sex, or more specifically, blowjobs, are indeed practiced, albeit quietly. This is a testament to the human desire that transcends cultural and societal boundaries. It's important to note, however, that these practices are typically confined within the sanctity of marriage due to the dominant religious beliefs. The influence of religion, particularly Islam, is profound in shaping the sexual behaviors in these regions. It promotes privacy and modesty in sexual matters, making them a deeply personal affair. While explicit discussions about sex are often taboo, oral sex is not explicitly prohibited in religious texts, leading to its practice among some married couples. In Pakistan, the societal norms are similar to those in the Middle East. The conservative society, bound by traditional and religious values, views sexual pleasure within the framework of marriage. The practice of oral sex, including blowjobs, is not openly discussed, but is known to occur in the privacy of marital relationships. It's also worth mentioning that the lack of comprehensive sexual education in these regions often leads to misconceptions and misinformation about sexual practices. This highlights the need for increased awareness and education to promote safe and healthy sexual behaviors. In conclusion, while the conservative norms in the Middle East and Pakistan may limit open discussions about sexual practices like blowjobs, it doesn't negate their existence. Like anywhere else in the world, people in these regions seek and find pleasure in their own unique ways, often within the confines of their cultural and religious norms. The Middle East and Pakistan, where desire is often a clandestine affair. Ever wondered what ancient and modern literature has to say about oral pleasure? Let's dive into the pages of history and explore what they hold. The Kama Sutra, an ancient Indian Sanskrit text, is one of the earliest and most comprehensive works on human sexual behavior. It does not shy away from discussing oral sex, or as it's referred to in the text, oparishtaka. The Kama Sutra details various techniques and positions, emphasizing the importance of mutual pleasure and consent in these acts. It suggests that the act of oral sex was not only accepted but even celebrated in early Indian society, a stark contrast to some contemporary viewpoints. On the Western front, we have the likes of The Joy of Sex and The Guide to Getting It On. These modern texts, while not as ancient as the Kama Sutra, have played a significant role in the sexual revolution of the Western world. They openly discuss and normalize oral sex, providing detailed guides for both beginners and experienced individuals. In these works, oral sex is presented as a way to explore, express, and enhance intimacy between partners. Comparing these literary viewpoints to our earlier survey data, we find some fascinating parallels and contrasts. The open acceptance and detailed discussion of oral sex in both the Kama Sutra and Western literature seem to resonate with the preferences of Europeans and Asians, who, as our data showed, view oral sex as a significant part of their sexual experiences. On the other hand, the more conservative views of Middle Eastern and Pakistani respondents reflect a divergence from these historical texts, indicating how cultural and societal norms can influence sexual preferences. Through the lens of literature, we see how our understanding and practice of oral sex have evolved over time, yet also remained consistent in many ways. From the ancient Kama Sutra to modern Western texts, the act of oral pleasure has been documented, dissected, and discussed, reflecting our innate curiosity and desire for sexual exploration and satisfaction. Literature, a mirror reflecting our age-old fascination with erotic pleasure. So, what have we learned from this global exploration of oral sex practices? Quite a lot, actually. Our journey took us from Europe's open-minded approach, where variety and freedom of expression are key, to the Asian perspective that values subtlety and emotional connection. We then traversed to the Middle East and Pakistan, where cultural norms and religious beliefs play a significant role. Finally, we delved into the erotic wisdom of the Kama Sutra and Western literature, uncovering a wealth of knowledge on the subject. These varied perspectives show us how cultural, societal, and historical factors can significantly shape sexual preferences and practices. It's a fascinating reminder of our diverse and complex world. But amidst this diversity, some universal truths hold firm. Remember, what matters most is consent, pleasure, and mutual respect. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.